Good evening, good people. Welcome to another episode of Speak With Dilys. This is episode 2, series 5, called the Lightbulb Moment. So have yourself a drink, get comfortable, and let's have this conversation. It's always great to see you guys on a Sunday. I cannot fault your dedication and your commitment to being on here every week and just making this show what it is. But as you know, and as I have said previously, Series 5 is taking a bit of a different turn where you guys are driving the conversation. So I will come with the answers. I will answer your questions off the cuff, anything from love to life to whatever it is. Hi, Amma. Thank you for joining, and Kevin as well. Please do share as you join, and let's have a wider conversation. So I will wait for you guys to get settled. I'll get settled myself. Welcome. Good evening to you all. And in just a moment, I'm going to tell you exactly, what this is about. And I know that I normally will go and have a little bit of a preamble before I come on to, the main show. But I just do that to whet your appetite. So good evening, people. How are you feeling? I hope you are all well. Hi, Kate. Thanks for being on here. So I will introduce myself. Hi, Shirley Ann. How are you doing? So for those of you that don't know who I am, I shall introduce myself in just a moment. But first, I would like to ask, how are you doing this evening? So show me some heart, show me some love. Let me know how you're doing. By all means, post your comments and I shall most certainly read them. So I can see the hearts. Shirley says, I'm very well, thank you. And you? I'm good, actually. Considering I've had no rest, I'm quite all right. I'm all right. I'm sorted. I'm not bad at all. So lovely to have you guys back here. Yes, I am glad that you guys are excited to see what the new look of Speak With Dilys looks like. I mean, I still look the same. I know I've got to kind of get back in the gym, but by and large, I don't look too different from what I looked like last week. Patience, how are you doing? It's good to see you too, and Donald as well, and Gloria. Lovely to see you. So guys, for those of you who don't know who I am, and those of you that will, catch this on the replay, let me just introduce myself. So my name is Dilys. I am an author. I'm a public speaker. I am also an accredited life coach. My areas of work is anything that you will probably see me discussing on the show. So that's relationships, that's grief, how to deal with grief, trauma, marriage. I do Christian coaching as well. So anything and everything. I'm your girl. Adrian, thank you for being on here. And thank you for, so much for always, helping to promote the show and everything. I really do appreciate it. So yes, so that is what I do. I'm also an MC and events host. So if you have an event that you want to add a little bit of, style to it, humor, trust me, I'm your girl. So that is what I do in a nutshell. I'm also the best-selling author of the book, Not This Widow. And it's a story about my life, part memoir, telling the story of when I lost my late husband and also how to deal with grief. So you can get that book on Amazon, and also Predator or Prince, How to Find the Man of Your Dreams, Not Your Nightmares. And that shows women how to spot red flags in men who may be abusive, be it emotionally, sexually, mentally, whatever, it's in there. And also, there are 2 books that are coming your way this year, one on forgiveness and one is an affirmation and inspirational book. So those 2 will be coming, and something else. But I will tell you that something else probably around October. So yeah, so we good. So guys, thank you very much for jumping on here. So those are the boring bits done. That's moi. So I am going to go over what the new look of Speak With Dilys is looking like. So Speak With Dilys episode 2, and I'll just quickly read this to you. Good day, good people. Lovely to have you on here. So those of you that are just joining, I will get to greeting you in just a second. I'm looking forward to another episode of Speak With Dilys, which is today. Last Sunday, which was the first episode, series 5, saw a slightly different style of the show where I answer your questions off the cuff. This show is always evolving and revamping, so let's get used to the new format and I'll be gentle with you in the meantime. Episode 2, Lightbulb Moment, will be that space where the answers you've been looking for in life and love come together, happening live here. So guys, the floor is yours. So the reason why I have done this, and I think I explained this in series 1, and I think what I will be doing moving forward is giving you this explanation until you're used to the new format, is because, as I said before, when I started Speak With Dilys, when I was in lockdown, it was very much by chance. And that was as an extension of doing Life, Laughter and Lockdown when I was caught in lockdown. And we had some very amazing conversations whilst I was tucked away in Ghana for 6 months. Then on coming back, the style of it changed because I didn't have somebody to read out the comments and have that banter that was going on before, which was fine. I started to read out my own comments, and I was able to get through quite a lot of how you guys were contributing to the show. Then we get on to series 3 and 4, which I ended up doing back to back. That was 28 shows I ended up doing, because one was a special, one was a live, and then we had the 26 normal shows that we have on the Sunday. And that saw us having some very, very deep conversations about suicide, marriage. I did a 3-part series on marriage. We spoke about mothers who hate their sons, mothers who hate their daughters, and the effects of that in how it spills over to how these men function in relationships and the impact it has on the women that date them. So again, my show is very much about marriage. Obviously, I only teach what I know, which is heterosexual relationships. So I don't want anyone to feel excluded, but I stick with what I know. I don't do political correctness. I do the truth, my truth, and that's how it stands. So moving forward, what I have felt is we have very much laid a foundation over these last practically 2 years. Yeah, it's a long time, my goodness. And as such, with everything, even when you're in school, you get to a place where you take an exam to see how much you've learned. So for me, in my thinking, this is now about what we've learned and what we've listened to consistently. Some of you are here every single week. And if you're not here, you catch, you're on the replay. How are we applying the things that we've learned from each other? Because it's not just been about me. And for that reason, now taking the show to a place where you are now asking the questions on various topics. Last week, it was brilliant. Somebody asked the question about lies, the effects that lies have on people. And I think someone else asked about, how are you able to be graceful as a woman? Now, as much as those questions seem really simple, when we actually got into it, they were quite deep questions. So, I hope that you guys will like the new format of the show and that you will lead it in a way where you don't have to wait for me to bring a topic before you're able to say, right, I wanted to know this about marriage. You can just ask. And most certainly, it's going to get answered. So let me see some of your comments and who has joined us. So, Ohine Nana, thank you for being on here. And Rita Senya, thank you, my dear. Lovely to see you. Good evening to you. Tasha, thank you for being on here as well. Anita and Efwaduku. Hello, she says, I'm getting better. I trust you were doing well too. Oh, yes, you did say you weren't feeling well. So yeah, I do hope that you're getting better. Yes, I'm doing very well. As usually, I do so many things that I get tired sometimes, but it is what it is. I would not miss being on here for anything. So guys, thank you, Adele, for joining. Lovely to see you. So guys, do share. Let's have this wider conversation and let me know what it is that you want to ask. So I will tell you a little bit about what my week has been like and the conversation that I was having. Now, it may prompt you to ask something I don't know, but I will tell you what my experience has been this week of just getting involved in random conversations. So, about 2 weeks ago, shortly after Kevin Samuels passed away, there was obviously a lot of conversations going on, which is to be expected. And prior to that even, I'd found that whenever there were discussions in certain places about the male-female relationship, the men were very definite about the kind of woman who was worthy of being in a relationship or being married, which I found totally bizarre, but it is what it is. So a couple of days ago, 2 weeks ago, I saw a post that said, women sleep with who they want and men sleep with who they can. And then the man's response was, men marry who they want, women marry who they can. And I said, rubbish, because I will marry who I won't. For me to just marry who I can means I'm having to settle because I can't get the person who I want. And I said, and that does not in any way, shape or form tell my story. Well, who told me to say that? The amount, I think there's close to 1,000 comments on that post. And, you know, after a while, I went back and I edited my comment and I said, ladies, do not settle. Do not let any man make you feel that you can only marry who you can and that you don't have choices. I said, you absolutely have the choice to marry who you want. The amount of offense my post caused was interesting. And I think it says a lot about where men and women are today. And obviously, because of what I do, I'm on social media a lot. And I'm reading, I am listening, I am watching various interactions and conversations from different parts of the world. And there is a common thread that I have most certainly seen. So I just wondered, as a woman of my age, been there, done it. However, the men on those threads were telling me how I needed to humble myself because I would not get a man. I would not be able to ever get married. Of course, they don't know me. And how I needed, wait for it, women need to be grateful to be married. Now that one killed me. I'm like, grateful? Are you all right in the head? But this attitude was common. It wasn't like it was said by one person. There were a lot of people that were saying, well, I can't get married. I'm like, dude, I'm probably about 15 years older than you. Trust me, I'm not your age mate. Been there, done it, worn the t-shirt. Back to front, inside out. But my concern was for the women who are not my age, who are 30 something, who are being told once you hit 35, you are old news. How are they going to constantly deal with that mindset being thrown at them that you are lucky to be married? So there you go. So that's the conversation that I was having, you know, this week. And I think I put something on my Facebook. I put this post up because I was just incredulous at how ingrained this new way of thinking, has become. So for those of you that have just joined, and I will greet you in just a moment, the conversation that we're having right now on Speak With Dilys is driven by yourself. So you can ask whatever question you would like to ask, and off the cuff, obviously I'll answer it because we're live and I can't rehearse it. So what questions do you have about anything? So I was thinking the other day that I feel like, don't worry, you're not too late. We're just getting into it. So I'm just explaining what the new format of Speak With Dilys is for Series 5, where the floor is open for you guys to ask whatever question you'd like to ask that's important to you. And I know that obviously because this is a new thing, it's going to take some time for you guys to get used to, because we're used to me coming with a topic and, in a teaching, coaching, conversational style, we have, we explore whatever it is. We read out our comments. We support each other. We share our knowledge. And that's how the show goes, which is wonderful. But as I said before, we've done like over 50 of these shows. And at this point, what I'm hoping is there's been a lot of learning that we have all had. And I think we should be at a stage, or hopefully at a stage, where we've started to take on board some of those things where we're now applying them. And in our application, what are some of the questions that we may have? Or what are some of the questions that you have on topics that I have never covered? I know I've covered a lot, but I mean, it's still happening. So whilst life is still happening, there's questions that you're going to have. So do let me know what your questions are. Feel free to post them in there. So let's go. Let me know what your questions are. I'm going to just start greeting a few people. Princess, how are you doing? Lovely to have you on here. And Karen Shaw, if you're new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Afolabi, I know you're always on here. Please do share so that I can thank you in the comments box. Gracious Benita, thank you for being on here. Shirley Ann says, I burst into laughter. What did I say? I've not even been funny today. I've been very well behaved. Lee Ajekum, thank you for being on here. And Christiana Cole as well. Shell Robinson, good evening, my darling. And Victoria, how are you doing, my love? Yes, it's nice to see you again. I know you saw the show for the first time last week. And Halo Saint as well. Lovely to see you guys on here. So where are your questions? And I think there's an Anita Walanya as well. Thank you for being on here. Because what's not going to happen, and Shatta, thank you for joining us. I'm not going to go straight into the old style. So you guys, this is your moment. So, you've got to stop being shy and being quiet, because it's funny. When I was doing the launch of the show, it was interesting because everyone was so engrossed in what I was saying, where you would normally comment and stuff like that, that didn't happen. And I asked somebody and they're like, well, it looks like when you're actually doing the live show, it probably would just have to be you just talking and we listen. But Speak With Dilys Series 5 moving forward is not like that. You guys have to come up with whatever it is that you want to discuss, and we take our learning in a different dimension. So that is how I would like to be able to move things forward. Because really, hi Omari, how are you doing? We haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been? So yeah, Omari, I was just saying that we've changed how we do the show a little bit. So just to reassure you guys, there will be times where I will come with a topic like before, and we will explore. So it's not going to be like this every single week, but most weeks it will be. Okay, so Cheryl says, what's your opinion on cultural appropriation? I have been told my braided hair will cause offense. Let me take some water. Yes, it will. Yes, it will, for a number of reasons. It may cause offense because for Black women especially, we are constantly being told how unpretty we are. We are constantly being told that we are not good enough, whether it's because of the shade of our skin. Yeah, Shell says, a Black woman, I want your opinion. Yeah, I know. And one thing I will say about Shell, if there's a white woman that really does listen, it's Shell. And with me, if you ask an honest question, you'll get an honest answer. And that's why I'm not beating about the bush. I'm just saying straight exactly what it is. So for Black women, we don't seem to have a lot of respect as women. We are kind of seen as subhuman. And as much as that might sound dramatic, I will explain it to you in this way. When we go to hospital to give birth, like every other woman, and we are in pain, and we need pain relief, because you would think that any person would know that labor hurts. It don't feel good. When we say we are in pain, the general attitude is that it ain't that bad or we're exaggerating. So even to get pain relief is a battle. We know of the story of the young girl, child Q, she's called, that was in the school in Hackney, who was deemed to have been smelling of weed. And instead of her parents being called, the police were called. They decided to strip search a 15-year-old child on her period and have to spread her butt cheeks. That's the kind of level of dehumanization Black women, Black females face globally. It ain't just here. But because of what, the question that you asked, I'm trying to give you some background. There aren't a lot of things that are ours. Now, again, when it comes to beauty standards, we don't really feature. You will very rarely see a black face, and that's only been in the last maybe 2 decades, where you will see on occasion, because of people like Naomi Campbell, a dark-skinned black woman that's deemed to be beautiful and will be on the cover of Vogue and various magazines, or be given, lead roles without having to act like the bloody maid, like Viola Davis and women like that in Hollywood. Our hair has always been a source of ridicule for black women. It has been seen to be something that is just not good enough. Hence the reason why a lot of noise is made about going natural in these last few years. So, giving that background, the braiding of hair, where we were told that it didn't look good, it didn't look professional, it didn't look right, to see white women taking it on board and it's suddenly okay, can be deemed as very offensive to black people. Because it's like it's okay when it's on a white woman, but it's not okay when it's on a black woman. So a black woman will go into the corporate world with braided hair or with locks, and it's deemed as not a professional corporate look. You have to have your hair slicked back like me. But if a white woman does it, it's somehow avant-garde. It's somehow, chic and fashionable and risque. Whereas when the people who were doing it originally, it somehow is a problem. So for example, these 4 lips of mine were classed as rubber lips when I was younger. And, you've got a fat bum. But all of a sudden, you've got the Kardashians injecting their butt cheeks, and somehow now having a big butt is beautiful, it's fashionable, it's womanly. Well, guess what? We've been having big butts from time immemorial. So this is why when certain things are done outside of black culture, that is why it becomes offensive. Because it's not good enough when black people are doing their own thing, even down to music. You'll find that the record labels back in the day would not sign a singer that could sing with, a black person singing like a black person, but they get all excited when they see a white woman singing like a black person. So why is the black person not good enough? So that is why cultural appropriation is offensive, or can be offensive. For me, I'm just a different kind of person. However, there are times, like for example, when Kim Kardashian got her hair plaited, they called it some stupid name. I can't remember what it was called. I'm like, get out of here. She hasn't set no trend. She's just copied what black people have been doing to their hair from time immemorial. And it's the fact that you're taking the credit away from where it needs to sit and apportioning it to somewhere else that becomes offensive. So I hope that has given you, Shell, some background as to why maybe seeing white women with braids, it being offensive to some people, to some black people. I don't know what anyone else thinks. You can, by all means, as you normally do, post your opinion in the comments box and I'll get round to reading them out. But I felt that it was important to give you a background as to why some black women would be offended, because we don't have a lot of things that are ours and can just remain ours. In fact, even having conversations about blackness is not ours. Even when we are trying to create a space to speak about black issues, there will be white people involving themselves in a conversation when really what they should be doing is just shutting up and listening, because you won't have that understanding. It's not about having an opinion, it's about having an understanding and asking questions to get a deeper understanding. Because opinions are to a penny. An opinion isn't something that you should have unless, unless we tell you to have an opinion, if I'm just going to be blunt. And I say that not disrespectfully. I say that because you cannot possibly know what it's like to live in a black woman's skin. And so when we're trying to explain it and express it, it's about humility and not being defensive and just listening and saying, I really didn't know that it was like that for you. And in a nutshell, I hope that's the best way that I can actually explain it to you. Because I think when you don't have the backstory, people just think, and don't forget that again, black people are not allowed to express anything because you are automatically labeled as being angry, as having no class, or just being difficult, or having a chip on your shoulder, or pulling the race card. We're gaslit as a people constantly. Nothing we say can be taken on face value. I gave the example about even giving birth. Black women will tell you when we're in that maternity ward and we're saying, we need some pain relief. Are you sure? Like my friend literally had a baby last year in September. I'm not going to mention the hospital. And when she asked for pain relief, you know what the nurse said to her? You don't look like you're in pain. Whatever that means. Like labor ain't fun. I've done it twice. But she was told she didn't look like she was in pain. And because she didn't look like she was in pain, she couldn't get any pain relief until she really had to kick up a stink. So I hope that has given you some background. Hi, Evelyn. Thank you so much for joining. Don't worry about being late. You are absolutely fine. And got my eyesight going a bit funny there. Makeda Bernard says, eloquently said, I appreciate you bringing this up and giving an articulate response on this matter. Thank you so much. Well, Shell brought it up actually, because she asked the question, and Shell has just said, I have never even heard the term until today. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have even seen it in a way we should be giving you credit. I had no idea it could cause offense, and no way would I want to do. I know you, Shell, I know you wouldn't. But I can see now why it could offend. I already said to you that this is why Shell's my girl, because Shell is one white woman that she listens. She don't make excuses. She's as real as they come. And this is the thing. The one thing that we have to be prepared to do, and what I'm about to say also absolutely applies to the LGBTQ community. The one thing we have to be prepared to have as black people when it comes to the issue of race is have the patience to explain. We cannot assume that everybody knows, because everybody doesn't know. I know Shell personally. So I know when she's asking me a question because she doesn't know. And even before I got that response, I said, she will get it. Okay? We have to be, you see, knowledge is only of benefit when it can be imparted. If you have knowledge and you cannot break down that knowledge in a way that people can receive it, what you actually have just makes you puffed up and arrogant, because only you are benefiting from it. But knowledge is there for it to be passed on and utilized. Knowledge is not supposed to be hidden. It's supposed to be shared. And as black people, when we are in that space where we are confronted with ignorance, even when we feel the ignorance is willful, personally, always give the benefit of the doubt, so that you do not allow that person that needs to receive of that knowledge the excuse of their ignorance. So even though I know you may know better, I am still going to take my time and explain to you. And why I mentioned the LGBTQ community is because, and I've said this before, there is an assumption that people know about the lifestyle or about the struggle. Not everybody knows. People come from different backgrounds, different belief systems, exposed to different things, move in different circles. It is essential that you take your time to explain. After you have given your explanation, what you have done is that knowledge you have now imparted. What they do with it, that is what you can judge them on. But you can't judge someone on what you think they should know. That's foolishness. So there you have it. So Alice Coleman says, Dilys, what is the recent trend of black women wearing lace front wigs with hair down their back? The reverse could Oops, I have missed. The reverse could hold for white women taking offense to black women imitating them. If white women went around wearing Afro wigs, would that be offensive to us? I'm just curious. Well, first and foremost, white women are not the only people with long hair. So that doesn't hold. Hello. Yeah, and I've cut this. In the last year, I've probably chopped off about 4 inches of my hair. So first and foremost, white women are not the only women that have long hair. Indian women have long hair. Other races, have long hair. So white women on that front do not have a monopoly on hair. There are black women. I had a friend, she's darker than me, actually. She's full black, she's not mixed. Her hair is down here. My own sisters have had hair way down their back. We have hair. So I don't think when it comes to length that anybody has got a monopoly on that. So in that respect, I would not say like for like. I don't think we're comparing like for like there, because different people, different races, I said, have got hair. And the issue of wearing wigs, what I would say is that people wear wigs for all sorts of different reasons. There are people that, hey, we were there hailing Jada Pinkett Smith because she had alopecia. Now she could have decided to stick a wig on her head. We don't know the reason why. We have people that cut their hair to make wigs for people who have suffered from cancer. So in that regard, I would struggle I would have to have a good, comparison to make a comparative analysis between the two. And I personally don't think that is a good enough example, because white women do not have a monopoly on long hair at all. Because my hair used to be down to my back and I'm as black as they come. Faye Clinton says, was it the same when the Afro hairstyle was adopted by Caucasians in the 70s? I don't know. I really, really don't know the answer to that question. Because somehow, or do I know the answer to that question? I think in the 70s, credit was given where credit was due. When it came to funk, when it came to that whole era and vibe, everybody knew that this was black people's music. This was black people's style. And there was no ambiguity about it. What is happening, in this era is that Kim Kardashian can go and plait her hair, and the credit for that hairstyle is given to Kim Kardashian. That's the liberty that is being taken today. That wasn't happening back then. Nobody would have credited any white person as being the creator of the Afro hairstyle. But today, you got Kim Kardashian, as I mentioned before, with an artificial backside. And, when I was growing up, back in the day, it's like, oh, your bum's so big and you've got rubber lips. And yet people are injecting their lips like no man's business. Now, all of a sudden, it's fashionable. Now, all of a sudden, it's the way to look. It's now the new beauty standard. But black women be looking like this from time immemorial. So that's where I think the difference is. So Gloria says, the problem is that it is not the whites do Afro or wear braids. The issue is making it as if they began that trend. Exactly. They own it. They are the ones making it good and legit. That is where the issue is. When we wear lace front, etc., we still call it Brazilian or whatever hair. We don't make it look like it's originally ours. Sierra Leonean, got you there, Gloria. Sierra Leonean person, hi, sorry. Everyone's apologizing for being late, don't worry. Thank you too, Faye. Cheryl Robinson said, black people relax their hair, don't they, to make it straight like white people. But is that because they feel they have to fit in to be accepted? And that means trying to have white people's hair then? No, it doesn't. What it means is some people feel that their hair is more manageable if they relax it. White people don't come into it. That's the short answer. White people have got nothing to do with that. And may I also add that back in the 50s and 60s, when we had, some of these, just gone out of my head, like, oh, what was that singer called? Richie something. They all had permed hair and, straighten their hair. It had nothing to do with white people. So, for example, my daughter has got extremely thick hair, and I hate doing hair. I'm not a hair person at all. As you can see, 9 times out of 10, my hair is in a ponytail because I don't do hair. I don't have the time for it. A lot of the time, my hair is in a weave. This is probably the first year in maybe about 10 years that my hair predominantly has not been in a weave. My hair is not in a weave because I want to be like a white person. Absolutely not. Don't even feature in my thought process. My hair is in a weave because I'm lazy. I can't be bothered to do my hair, and I would much rather just wash and go. So I think, and I've always had a problem with this, where people make assumptions as to why people wear wigs or straighten their hair. It has always irritated me because none of those things apply to me and many, many other women. As you can see, I am far from bald. I have nice hair, you know, but I hate looking after it. So anything I can do, and the only reason why I don't braid my hair is I've always had a very light hairline. So if I braid my hair, this is gonna fall out and my hair's gonna start from here, and I'll have a forehead that starts from the back of my head. It's not really a good look for me, understand? So I don't do that. Those are my reasons. It's got nothing to do with me not thinking I'm black enough, or I want to look like a white girl. No, nothing like that. Okay, you can ask some other questions. I know that this is an interesting conversation, but you can switch directions anytime you like. If I see the question, I will definitely try and answer it. Janet, thank you for being on here. I know that Adrian invited you, so I hope that you're enjoying your first show, Speak With Dilys. So welcome. Shell says, fair enough. Sierra Leone posts a true sis. Gwen, thank you for being on here as well. Yes, Princess, you mentioned Lionel Richie. Yeah, all of those, the Commodores, all those people all had those funky hairstyles because it was just fashion. It wasn't that deep. Now I believe that people are doing certain things to their hair because it's more, it makes our own natural hair more manageable. So for example, I just have a thing about wigs. Like, I can't wear a wig. I'm really praying that I can get over it because it would make my life so much easier. I hate doing hair. And the reason why I personally have an issue with wigs is because I used to watch Jerry Springer. And I remember those days, and I'm still traumatized, when someone will come on there looking all nice and cute, and the next thing you know, they've whipped off their wig. And for me, I would just like, hell no to the no, no, no. Hell no to the no, no, no. And I've always had this fear that somebody would come and whip off my wig. And I'm serious, you know. And so for that reason, I don't do wigs. I'm hoping and I'm praying to God that I will be delivered from that phobia. Okay, so Gloria, what you saying? So Gloria says, not entirely. Some do relax their hair to make it manageable. And it is so sad whites have made others think we are so always trying to fit in. No, we don't. We just want to manage and rock that ponytail, LOL. Well, you know what? You see, my natural hair is very wavy. So back in the day when we had the Jerry curl and we had that, you know, the activator, if I put the activator in my hair and wet it and plaited it with thread, my hair's dead straight. More like Indian kind of hair. That's why I went and did a genetic DNA test. Christmas just gone. Because I've always been convinced that I was not full Ghanaian. I've always known. I am 30-something% Italian. That's genetics for you. I will not tell you the rest. I may do. Maybe I'll give you each part of where I'm from each week. But yeah, so that is the answer to the question. And thank you guys for your contribution. Thank you, Monica, for jumping on here. Guys, do share so that we can all enjoy this new Speak With. How are you enjoying the new feel of Speak With Dilys? Tell me, give me your feedback. Tell me what you're feeling. Whilst I have a glass of water. Secretly, you know, imagining a G&T, but it is water. So yeah, so tell me in the comment box how you're finding the new Speak With Dilys, i.e. it being questions that you can answer, random questions, and, you know, we answer. And it's great to, you see, the thing I love about this platform is the fact that it's just so respectful. Caroline Pedro, I have not seen that name before, so if you're new, thank you very much for joining. I'm seeing a lot of hearts, so thank you. Ever says, please, my question is, why do some women tell their partners or husbands secrets they have with friends, especially when they start new relationships? They want the guys to see all the good in them and bad in their friends. That answer's short because they stupid. Because they ain't got no damn sense. Why would you enter into a new relationship and tell your partner everything about your friends? Let me tell you something. I am one person. Well, this is the short answer. Because the person not have not sent them chup either. Because when you have sense, you don't behave like, don't make me call Auntie Mabel. Auntie Mabel, she doesn't like that at all. But on a serious note, you see, these things stem from insecurity. Why do I say this? Why would you need to make your friends look bad to your new partner? Is it because you feel that they are better looking than you, or that your new partner may find them attractive, and so therefore you're making sure that you let him know from day dot that she trash, and she trash. And I'm the only common denominator between that piece of trash, and that piece of trash. Because really and truly, if your man has got sense, that is what he would see, that you are the common denominator between all these friends who are rubbish. So I would say personally, for anybody to do that, it's their insecurity speaking, and clearly they're not a good friend. And I know the kind of people I've ever dated before, if I did that, they would look at me funny. So the short answer is, call them stupid. Them not have no sense. Then they should grow up. That would be my short answer. So let's see. Gloria says, why do people always have an issue with someone who has more than a pair? Why do people always have an issue with someone who has more than a pair of ear piercings? Worse is if you have an anklet. Why? Okay. Now that goes back to culture. And from your name, I know that you're Ghanaian. Because back in the day, it was the prostitutes who wore the anklets. And I'm not talking about the traditional beaded ones where you have them around your wrist, and like when the Adwa dancers, are in their traditional attire. It was normally those free women back in the day. Now in 2022, for someone to see you with an anklet and feel that you are of questionable morals, well, again, what can I say? It's just what they're exposed to and what they feel is, an acceptable way for a woman to present themselves. And, people are always going to have opinions on how people look or how people dress. I am a prime example. I don't look like a minister, whatever a minister looks like. They don't expect me to be leading praise and worship or praying for people or doing this, that, and the other. They don't expect that because, for one, I had one lady that looked like Miss Seeley telling me that, how I need the Lord because I wear makeup. I'm like, girlfriend, you need makeup. Like, you really do, And it's because it's easier for people to accept people that either look like them or don't make them question themselves. Because a lot of times when people are so judgmental about others, it makes them question themselves in one way or another. So like for when I first started going to church, for example, I was told that my clothes were too tight. And I'm thinking, I'm a size 10. I'm wearing size 10 clothes. It ain't tight. They're my clothes. It'd be tight if I was wearing a size 6. But if I'm a size 10 and I'm wearing a size 10, those days I was a size 10. Now it's more like my shoe size, that's size 10. But we are not going to go there. So back then, I was, you can't tell me that how can you tell me when I'm the one breathing in the clothes that my clothes are too tight? Do you understand? But it was their insecurities that was promoting their way of thinking. When it comes to piercing, she said, well, someone told me, may God have mercy on you, when they saw I had another ear piercing. But you see, this is what I'm saying. I don't know why we worry ourselves. The fact of the matter is, people are always going to judge you. Even Jesus himself was judged. The key thing is that you know who you are as I am. I know who I am in every sense of the word. Therefore, when somebody sees me like that young girl did, and as far as she's concerned, I'm going straight to hell because I've got my eyes, and I think I did my eyeshadow quite good. Because I've got makeup on, or I wear makeup, she was coming to give me all these, and I'm like, girlfriend, when you bother to read your Bible and you read the story about Queen Esther was a fly chick. God don't make mistakes, you know. Did God not make me? Did God not know that making me with this kind of a body that people are going to turn their head and look? I didn't just fall from the sky. Somebody took their time and thought, oh, I'm going to give us. In fact, I'm going to give her next week double portion of the anointing from behind. Bam. And he made me. And this is who she is. I'm not going to apologize for that. Just because you feel uncomfortable. And as that person said, God should have mercy. Say thank you. God has had mercy. Amen. And move on. What you can't do is allow the opinions of other people to shake you, break you, or sway you. You have got to be fixed and assured of who you are as a woman, as a person. And if you're a Christian, you better know where you're standing. Because differing opinions on who you are is always going to happen. The fact that someone has an opinion doesn't make it accurate. Now, when we started and I was explaining to you about the thread that I was on, these little frogs, okay, and they will remain frogs, and ain't no kissing going to change those people into princes, claim that because I am not humble, I can never be married. Opinion wasn't worth Jack Diddley squat. I'm like, mate, been there, done that. It was their opinion, and it was their perception, the very myopic view of a human being that they know nothing about. Why, oh why, would I let that bother me? Like, why? You've got to know who you are. You know, if your heart doesn't condemn you, you see, what condemns you is your heart. Everything that governs our whole existence is here. It's right here. If it doesn't feel good here, it would trigger here. That is what you use to judge what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're involved in, your heart. Because that is your guide to your whole existence. You've got to check yourself. Exactly when it says, the Bible says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Look, at the end of the day, like I said, you've got to come to a place where you like what you see, not in an arrogant way, that you are able to go through that journey. Like I said, a lot of topics we've spoken about essentially has been about healing. When you know, no matter what whether it's about marriage or mothers who hate their sons or dealing with chronic sickness and forgiveness and all of that stuff, that these wonderful conversations that we've had, essentially, we are talking about healing in one way or another. So those of you that have just joined, welcome to Speak With Dilys. This is the second episode in series 5, and it's called the Lightbulb Moment. Hopefully the light bulb is going to go ping and we'll be like, right, I learned something new today. And the new look of Speak With Dilys is you putting your questions out there and us having an open discussion and conversation about it. So let me go back and see if I can read some of your comments. Adrian says, hello, Auntie. Happy you could join. Yes, Auntie. Thank you for joining. Adela, thank you for being on here as well. I don't recognize your name, so if this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Chinwe Chi, love your name. Welcome as well. Moyiwa, welcome to Speak With Dilys. Chelsea's Gloria, they are your ears. Exactly. They're your ears, so you can put whatever you like in them. Afalavi said, the key is knowing who you are. The piercing does not define who you are. Exactly. You know, and this is why I love where the Bible says that man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. You can look the part, but inside is pure filth. Maybe outside is pure filth, but inside is the purest heart. And that's really what should matter. Judith, thank you for being on here, as well as Erin Bryan, Louisa Sam, Caroline as well. Rosie Asante. And Gloria says, yes, I told one lady that if she thinks me having more than one piercing makes me a sinner, then she is also being condemned by the Adventists. They actually see wearing of jewelry as a sin. Well, that response made the woman think twice. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you're always going to get people that will point fingers. People point fingers at me every single day, and I really could not care less. Yes, Afolabi says your heart, the soul in you matters. Absolutely. So let me see if I've missed any questions. But yeah, like I said, it's very important that you know who you are, because people are always going to have different opinions about you. One person will think you're the best thing since sliced bread. Somebody would think that you are Satan's firstborn. Do you understand? So you have got to know what your standards are, who you are, and what you bring to the table. And essentially, that is what should govern your thinking. But the moment you fall into, oh, this person has said this, and let me tell you something, you'll be so unstable, because you're not Jesus. The one thing you cannot be is all things to all men. Not everybody can like you. And the fact is, and I think I've said this before, it's anybody's right not to like you. You don't have a God-given right that says you must be liked. You don't get to, that's not your call. You have to be okay with people not liking you. You've got to be okay with that. I've got to be okay with that. You know, because the moment the acceptance of man becomes a priority, you will never be able to live your full potential, your life to your full potential, and you will not like yourself, because everybody is going to have an opinion about you. Everybody. Oh, I think you're too this. Oh, I think you're too that. And some of it is based on nonsense. Some of it is based on lies. The opinion is based on jealousy, insecurity, misinformation, so many different things. False doctrines. Like that lady, this little girl, she was so obsessed with how I looked. She missed the wealth of knowledge that I could impart to her as an older, more experienced woman on how it could help her do life. That was her loss. She was so obsessed. I mean, my God, this girl trolled me for days. And all I kept saying to her is, my dear, I will wear makeup till I die. I said, in fact, because of you, I will wear double makeup and look like a masquerade. So those of you that know what African masquerade looks like, they are masks. They look like monsters. I said, because of you, I will look like masquerade. And I could see she was getting more and more frustrated. But I'm like, it's my face. I can do whatever the hell I like with it. Do you understand? If I want to wear makeup, I'll wear makeup. There's many times, look, I've done a show on beauty. Did I not sit here with no makeup on? There's no skin off my nose. No skin off my nose. The only thing I haven't done is come on here naked. I really don't care. None of this stuff defines me. None of it. None of it. And I think essentially, especially women, we are torn to pieces by so many things, by life, by family, by the men we're with, or have been with, or want to be with. You know, we go through a lot. And I think sometimes that desire to be accepted becomes more of a priority than us doing some introspection and building ourselves up so that the opinion of ourselves become the priority. And that is really what we need to start doing, especially as women. Now, as I said, this show is very much you ask your question and I answer. And I have said that we are going to have some episodes where it will be like the old style of today we're going to be speaking about this, and we go into it. And it's one of the things that I really want to explore, because for me, I'm 50. I've lived and I'm still living. But I really have had a grave concern for women who are 20 years my junior. Because what's being peddled out there of the standard that these women are supposed to aspire to by men who aren't even a quarter of the way there, selling themselves as if they are there, is frightening. And it's frightening because the women are buying it. And it's like any objection to it means, oh, you're living in denial and that's why you're single. So there's a lot of work that we have to start doing on ourselves. An immense amount of work. We've only got 5 minutes. Of course, it goes so quickly, doesn't it? Mariama, thank you for being on here. And Caroline, Pedro, I think I mentioned before. Let me go through. Shell says, I like the fact that we can ask a question and get an honest answer. Come on, you know me. The other style show I liked, as I knew I was going to gain information on specific topic. Yeah, and that's why I'm going to, because I'm nice. That's why I'm going to make sure that you guys get both. So I will do specific topics as well, most certainly. Shell says, I have 4 loaves. I don't conform to any societal standards. I do me. Well, it's great. Ashanti Ams, thank you for being on here, my lovely. Let me see. Ali, thank you for being on here as well. Adrian, I think I said hi to you. And I think I scrolled a bit too high up. More than one makes me... Oh, yep, I think I read that as well. Okay, so Shell says, Gloria Ajwasafo, I'm pretty sure you can be a good person with more than one piercing. But where's the piercing though? Richie Hammond, thank you for being on here. And Auntie Janet says, yes, I agree completely. Thank you. Kezia, thank you for being on here as well. And Bridget Boham, lovely to have you. And Afalab says, loving yourself first overcomes every negative comment that comes your way. That is true. I have to agree with that. Because I am so grounded. And this is what caused the fence when I was having that conversation about having received multiple marriage proposals. It's like, that sounds a lot better in your head than it sounds being spoken out loud. I'm like, why? That's my reality. You're here telling women that they must be grateful because they don't get to choose who they want to get married to. They just get married to whoever wants to get married to them, which is like the biggest load of rubbish I've heard in a while. That's not my reality. I have always said to women, position yourself in a place where you can do the choosing. How do you position yourself? You position yourself by addressing your own emotional issues, i.e. the healing that you need to get from your daddy issues, from that broken relationship, from that divorce, from whatever, from being overweight and being taunted at school, to being too skinny and being told that you look like, whatever it was that made you feel less than, whatever it was, it is your responsibility to go and do what needs to be done so that when the sticks and stones come, they really don't break your bones. That is what you need to do. And I'm speaking specifically to women here because this was an attack on women. Once you are able to be honest with yourself of all the things that you need to put you back in that emotional state of being where you need to be, nothing can sway you. Absolutely not. Listen, when my husband died, I had somebody that was trolling me, even on the day of his burial. The filthiest, nastiest comments, even my children were being trolled. I wasn't moved. Not one iota. If I tell you that there was one day that I ever broke down or... No. I saved my tears for what needed to be cried about, not foolishness and stupidity. So when I was being hounded and told, oh, I'm glad your husband's dead. Oh yeah, I was told that. I wasn't moved. I thought that says a lot more about you than it does me. And I'm such a blessed woman that whenever people do evil things to me in secret, I always find out who they are. I found out who this woman was. Turns out her son had died 3 years prior. I said, you see life? It's a long story. That's another story for another day. I'll tell you that story another time. Princess, you've asked a question, and I'm going to try and answer it real quick because my time is up. How do we draw the line between self-love and being proud? I think personally, very easily, and I'll tell you why. And I'll use myself as an example. And I think I'm expanding on the self-love bit. I think you mean, because loving yourself is essential. For you to be able to survive and live this life as you should do, you should love yourself. But I will expand on it a little bit as quickly as possible. And if you're back here next week, ask the question again and, I will try and give you a fuller answer. The reason why it is easy to make that distinction, for me, is because when you come to a place of self-love, it means either you were at a place where you didn't love yourself, or you've come to a place where you appreciate yourself more. When you have gone through either of these two avenues, life has dealt with you to a degree. You have gone through something. And when you go through certain things in life, it humbles you. There isn't any capacity for you to be proud. The people who are proud are people who ain't been through nothing and are lying to themselves. They're usually insecure, broken people, masking their insecurity and their brokenness by pretending that they ain't got no problem and they're all that in a bag of chips. Don't believe the hype. The reality of those who have learned to self-love are people who have once been broken, are people who have gone through something and by the grace of God have come out the other side and have a story to tell. And that story that they have to tell, they share it with others so that they too can know that it is possible and they can pass on that baton. People who self-love in a healthy way, real self-love, not self-indulgence or being puffed up or self-absorbed, but self-love, they operate under different rules. So that for me would be the short answer. I've been through some stuff, so I don't have the capacity to look down on anybody when I know what life has done to me. And I know that it's only by grace that I'm able to sit here and experience the things that I experience because it's grace that's brought me here. So I look at those achievements from a place of humility and gratitude, but for the grace of God. So don't believe the hype. That would be my short answer. Now, I have actually come to the end of my time, which means I gotta go. And that means you guys hopefully have enjoyed today. Would that be fair to say? Let me see some hearts if you have enjoyed today. And if I'm going to see you next week. Hello, are we there? Okay, now you're talking to me. Okay, I see some hearts in the comments. Effa, come on, press that button. You know what it is. So yes, if you have enjoyed today, and guys, I know, thank you, Evelyn, so much. Guys, I know that this is new for you, and it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to. Kiru, my darling, we are about to log off now because I am a few minutes past my time. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. Think of what you want to ask during the week and join by all means. Thank you so much, Auntie Janet. Much appreciated. Princess, thank you so much. Love you too, Kiru. It's such a shame that you just joined, but do catch the replay. Bless you too, Afolabi. Guys, always a pleasure. Thank you, Anita, for being on here as well. Always a pleasure to have this Sunday evening with you. Always a pleasure. Guys, I have some great news that I'm going to be sharing some more details with you next week. There's a lot going on. I know I sound very cloak and dagger. However, all will be revealed. Just know that we're going to have a big event at the end of the year. We are practically in June. 2021, 2022 rather, is going so quickly, it's unbelievable. But guys, have a wonderful rest of the week. I shall see you by the grace of God on Sunday, same time. Do spread the word. Let's keep having these great conversations, and I shall see you next week on Speak With Dilys. God bless. Take care and goodbye. Bye, guys.